it is obvious that the profound knowledge of Upanishads can be grasped only by a competent student imbibed with sadhana chatushtaya. Who doesn't have sadhana chatushtaya before having the knowledge, not a single person can grasp it. Please make it sure. You may know a lot of things. You can read library after library, but knowledge will not take place if sadhana chatushtaya is not there. Many times a lot of people call me or text me, Swamiji, since last 30 years, 40 years, I'm doing that, I'm doing these practices, but as if nothing is happening. See, just ask yourself. No need to come to me or no need to go to anyone, any guru. In the first stage, just ask yourself, did I practice sadhana chatushtaya before reading the book, before going to Sravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasana? If I am not having Viveka and Vairagya, then Upanishads are nothing but a novel like Macbeth or any other novel. This is our only sadhana, sadhana chatushtaya. And to imbibe in sadhana chatushtaya, a monk, an ascetic, go to the cave of the Himalayas or go to the bank of the rivers, holy rivers, go to the jungle. They stay away from the locality. So only for one reason is there: to practice, to imbibe sadhana chatushtaya. Once it is practiced thoroughly, once it becomes blood and breath to you, the game is over. When the gunpowder is totally dry and heated, one smallest spark is well enough to burn. But if the gunpowder is wet, suppose it is in the on the sand of the ocean, as much as you stroke, it will never lit. The gunpowder will be wasted. Likewise, the good qualities we are having, if we don't make it dry and fit with the strength of the knowledge, with the strength of the vows, vrata, जो मैं साधन चतुष्टय पालन करूंगा ही करूंगा, वो ही मेरा साधन है. मेरे तो गिरिधार गोपाल दूसरा ना कोई. Your sadhana chatushtay should be your giridhar gopal. Otherwise, all of us, including me, if we don't practice sadhana chatushtay, and we are telling every morning, I listen to the holy discourses, wastage of time from the standpoint of spirituality. From the standpoint of Jagat, maybe spiritual entertainment we are doing. Nothing happen. Please make sure nothing will happen. Put your logic. How is it possible? If I don't have viveka, that what is good, what is bad, what is to be taken in spiritual life, not in worldly life. I'm talking spiritual life. And in worldly life also, because our both life is very adjacent. If I don't have dispassion from others, from other thing, apart from our aim of life, our goal of life, how should we reach? Suppose I don't know where to go, then how the path will be chosen? And if I know my goal, but if I take the wrong path, then the goal will never be reached to me. It's not possible. If I want to go to the east, and if I start walking to the west or to the north, to the south, the destination will not be reached by me. Sadhana Chatushtaya is the path. We need to follow it. Viveka Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, Mumukshutvam. All the qualities we need in a full abundance, in a full fledged. If we don't restrain our senses, what is the use? Because our purva vasanas, how they come, I don't know. Nobody knows. Because in this life, I am with the holy companion, yet all those bad tendencies are pulling me, pulling me. How? And how to restrain it? Shama, Dama, Upara. If we don't practice it, actually we are going to nourish it. Whatever you will nourish, whatever, it will flourish. Whatever you will nourish, that will flourish. Decision is ours. So, not everybody is qualified. It's true. The Chandogya Upanishad, stipulates that the teacher should impart this knowledge only to his disciple, only to his disciple. And who is Shishya? Please see definitions of Vedanta. Or in our Bengali speaker, in Bhajagovindam also I have told, with the Sanskrit quotation, that who is the disciple. So, Shikshate iti Shishyaha. We tell him, a disciple, who accepts knowledge from a teacher. Shikshate iti Shishyaha. Then, Shishyat Vishishyate Shastradi Parigyanena Bahirmukha Apikshya iti Shishyaha. What does it mean? जिन्होंने शास्त्र के विषय अध्ययन करने के बावजूद अपने मन में उन्नति लाभ किया है और जो अपना पूर्व जन्म और इस जन्म की पूर्व अभ्यास के द्वारा जो बहिर्मुखिता है मन का, जो त्याग करके थोड़ा सा अंतर्मुखी हुआ है, वो शिष्य है. So what is the second definitions? Now you know we have many lower tendencies. First you have to know that they are lower tendencies. If you start praising your lower tendencies, then you can't be able to identify that those are my lower tendencies. So first you have to identify it, that these are my lower tendencies. In which respect? Now which obstruct my path to good. श्रेयस की पथ में जो बाधा स्वरूप है, वही मेरा अंतराय है साधन की, वही मेरा बाधा है. That is my obstructions, obstacles in the spiritual progression. And third, who restrains with a proper understanding all sensuous tendencies. Indriyadi pravrittim shikshyati iti shishyaha. Indriyadi pravrittim shikshyati iti shishyaha. Who controls his all lower tendencies with a proper understanding, and our all senses are always external. If we see the chariot of Bhagavad Gita, 5 or 7, it depends, horses, and they are like this, diverging. And the horses are the symbol of our mind, inner vritti, antakarana, senses. How are they? Diverging, external. Unless and until we work on it, we are wasting our time. The spiritual knowledge cannot be sold even for the whole earth and its riches. Spiritual knowledge cannot be given. We have to take it. For it is much greater than the earth and all its wealth. The student for this knowledge should be endowed with humility, vinay, vidya dadati vinayam vinayam jati patratam patratva dhanam apnoti dhanat dharma tata sukham. That is the vidya, that is the knowledge which makes us humble. So the student should be endowed with the humility, atma sanyom, sanyam, self-control, and atma pavitrata, antah pavitrata, inner serenity. Prior to the cultivation of the knowledge of Brahman, he should have performed either in this birth or in a previous one the obligatory sacrifices he should have practiced, devotion to the gods, and should have discharged all the duties and responsibilities of a householder's life. The student had to pass through various tests before the teacher would instruct him in the knowledge of Brahman. We read, for example, in the Kathopanishad that young Nachiketa approached Yamaraja, the king of death, for the knowledge of the self, Atma Jnana ke liye. In order to test his serenity and earnestness, Yamadarpa Raja tried to dissuade him from seeking it by offering him in its place the possession of sons and grandsons who would live 100 years, and of cattle, elephants, gold, horses without number. Because on that time the wealth means how many cattle you are having, how many elephants, how many horses. Like, today, how much bank balance you are having, how many properties you are having, how many cars you are having. In olden days, the wealth was measured by the cattle, number of cattle. So in Mantra Pushpam, Prathama Valli, Prathama Adhyaya, Prathama Valli, 23rd mantra. Bhagavan Yamaraja is giving the greed factors to Nachiketa. Shatayushah putra pautran vrineshva bahun pashun hasti hiranyamashvan bhumer mahadayatanam vrineshva swayam cha jiva Sarado yavadichasi etattullyam yadi manyase varam vrinishva vittam chirajivikam cha mahabhumau nachiketas tvamedhi kamanam tva kamabhajam karomi. ये ये कामा दुर्लभा मर्त्यलोके सर्वान् कामान् छन्दतः प्रार्थयस्व इमा रामः सरथा सतूर्यः नहि दृशा लम्भनीया मनुष्यैः आभिर्मत्प्रत्याभि परिचारयस्य नचिकेतो मरणं मानुप्राक्षी. Bhagavan Yamaraja started greeting Nachiketa as a test. I went to stop to the laborers, and they are not ours, our neighbors' labor. Okay, cool. The student has to pass through various tests before the teacher would instruct him in the knowledge of Brahman. In order to test his serenity and earnestness, Yamaraja told all those things, tried to tempted him, tried to tempted the young aspirant with celestial dancing girls of exquisite beauty and with wealth, longevity, suzerainty over the whole earth, and the promise of any other acquisition he might desire. He requested Nachiketa not to bother himself with such a useless question as that of the nature of Atma. To the king of death, the boy made his spirited reply. You know what our Nachiketa, our hero, told? I will just utter one mantra, enlightened mantra. That should be approach of every spiritual aspirant, every sadhaka. Nachiketa is our ideology in the path of spirituality. Shobhavamartais Sobhavamartasya Yadantakaitat Sarvendriyanam Jarayanti Tejaha Api Sarvam Jivitamalpameva Tavaiva Vaha Tavanitagite. That was Nachiketa's reply. These are all ephemeral and only tend to the decay of the vigor of our senses, Nachiketa told. Even the longest life on earth is indeed short compared to immortality. May the chariots, the music, and the dancing girls remain with you. I don't need all those things. Finding him firm and unshakable in his resolve, the king of death granted Nachiketa his wished for boon. The Chandogya Upanishad describes Indra, the king of the gods, the Virochana, the king of the demons, approaching the teacher Prajapati Brahmaji, for the knowledge of Brahman. Prajapati asked them to live with him 32 years as a celibate brahmachari, practicing conscience, truthfulness, and other spiritual authorities. ये गुरुकुल में रहना है तो इस तरह रहना पड़ेगा. तुम बाहर की दुनिया में राजा हो सकते हो, but whenever you come to Gurukul, it is like that. This is the setup. It looks like a prison, But what is the difference between a prison and a Gurukul? In prison, we are forced to go over there as a punishment. But in Gurukul, we go by our own will force. We feel thirst inside that I need something else. I have to go there. There is no force. Guru never force and tell him, you stay, come. His door is always open, open for coming, open for going. But as long as you will stay at Gurukul, there should be 100% rules and regulations and disciplines. Otherwise, no use of staying at Gurukul. You can stay at your home, you can stay at a hotel if you are rich enough, wealthy enough. Gurukul means limitations, restrictions, when your ego always be thrashed, always be. With our course, there was a senior scientist who was there of NASA. You have no idea how, at the age of 62 or something like that, he came. And at the end, he told, oh, I could not understand that I had that much of ego. Acharya just thrashed it. Whoever else you are maybe the king of this whole world. But when you have come to an Acharya, maybe he is younger than you, because our Acharya was very young compared to those old people. We can feel what we got in 2 years. Whole life we will never get. Yes, it was like a mental torture at the first stage. We failed because it was our immature mind. So here Prajapati Brahmaji also gave that condition to the king of the heaven, Indra, and the king of the hell, Virochana. That brahmacharya, celibacy should be maintained over here. You have to practice conscience, truthfulness, satyavadita, and other spiritual austerities means sadhana chatushtaya. After the expiration of the period, he gave them instruction which they understood as identifying the soul with the body. The king of the demons, on account of his naturally dull intellect, was satisfied and went away. But Indra, born with a purer mind, asked for higher knowledge. Prajapati told Indra to remain with him for a second period of 32 years as a brahmachari. Even then, Indra could not grasp the truth regarding Brahman. So he was told to spend third period of 32 years. 32 years, 32 years, 32 years. He had to lead an austere life, tapasvi jivan, kathin kricha sadhana jivan, for 105 years, according to the Upanishad, before he could understand the mysteries of Brahman.